Good morning, colleagues. Good morning, Chair. Good morning, Vice Chair and members of the committee. For the record, Mark Owens, House District 60. What a beautiful morning. When's time change? Are we talking about time change this morning? No, we're not. But let's talk about the Rural Resource Community Center. And I actually have some prepared comments. Probably haven't seen me read comments very much or testimony. That's because this bill is intricate. That's because this bill is important to me, and I want to make sure I get some things on the record. So please bear with me as I try to read. Rural communities have struggled for decades to capitalize on their community, their economic opportunities due to lack of capacity. The staff needed to do the work necessary to develop, access funding, and manage projects. Our urban counterparts have larger tax bases that can support robust staff, which is needed to do infrastructure projects like water, wastewater systems. Half of Oregon's cities and counties are under 10,000 in population, which leaves them with few, if any, staff. At the same time, there are now resources from the federal government to support rural cities and counties. The state is also making new resources available for housing, sewer, and water systems. Despite the rich resource, our communities have little to no ability to take advantage of these opportunities for investment opportunities and will face even greater economic declines as a result. Over the last 2 years, USDA Rural Development and Oregon I sector have convened 3 summits engaging over 450 leaders from rural Oregon. Their purpose was to identify barriers and develop a strategy to allow rural communities to capitalize on historic federal funding. 3 principles were identified and included: provide capacity to jurisdictions that lack basic staff support and expertise, provide a resource coordination network to connect communities to project development, funding access, management assistance, and conduct research on identifying gaps to public civic investment systems and finding opportunities for improved leverage. The solutions that came out of this for me was the creation of a rural community resource center to help break the cycle of disinvestment, disenfranchisement that exists in our current system. It has 2 parts. To address the lack of local capacity, the center would include project managers that professionals, bigger cities and counties already have. But rural communities, some do not. A staff with expertise and possibly in public works, engineering, community development, land use, housing, transportation, public administration, and finance. These professionals would be available to rural communities around the state to fill gaps that exist today. To address the need to accelerate on-the-ground action and the need for leveraging public, private, and civic resources, it would include a community leverage fund to provide match dollars to attract resources and technical assistance, as well as incentives for partnership and collaborative work. The fund will support work that can be done by key partners who also lack sufficient capacity to support our rural cities, rural counties, such as economic development districts, which are a key partner in this bill. The Rural Community Resource Center would be guided by a partnership of leaders from the public, private, and civic sectors, not addressing the problem that means leaving half our local jurisdictions and about 1/3 of our population in Oregon without the ability to participate in Oregon's economy. This is also happening at a time when our rural communities are losing some of the highest paid jobs through federal agency cutbacks. This bill that I'm introducing is designed to support rural communities as a critical component to Oregon's economic future and give them the basic supports they need. So just real quickly, a lot of our small counties and cities have great staff, but they're not experts in many things from concept to capital stack to construction to moving people in. Where they have the gaps is where these gaps will fill. Some of you are probably thinking I talked about the federal fund, tsunami of funds that's still coming in. Colleagues, we are going through some interesting times with federal cuts, but do not let that stop us from setting up these infrastructures that we needed to capitalize on any of those funds that will continue to come. Please don't allow that to question your thoughts on this bill. I'll hand it over to people that are hopefully more articulate and smarter on this to me, but we'll be ready for questions after the panel.